Alright, so last week I went to South Dakota to crawl through a cave. Now, before I get to that, I want to talk about some of the cool things we did before then. For example, we went to the Minuteman Missile Museum, which is this smallish museum about the Minuteman II missiles, which were nuclear missiles developed during the time of the Cold War. This chart here, for example, is a representation of the number of nuclear missiles in existence by year. The orange bars in the back are the US and USSR's missiles combined. And because we were in the area, we of course went to see the Badlands. And while these were very cool and definitely fun to climb on, it was kind of just these hilly areas. So if you've seen this, you've kind of seen a lot of it. Very cool area, but it was mostly just that. And of course flatland. It is South Dakota. And really, since I don't necessarily know a lot about rocks, I can't necessarily speak to it a whole lot. We did, however, see a bunch of animals, though, like this, I think, deer, and these groundhogs just wandering around out there. Of course, saw them. Also, these longhorn sheep and ants. They are everywhere. And, of course, cacti. It is an arid region. Then in the visitor center, we saw less alive animals, like this skeleton, and these just random bones here. Now, I'm not sure what animals most of these belong to, so I can't really speak to it. I guess if you're curious, you kind of have to look it up. I do know that's a mosasaur jaw. Recognize that much. The mural in the background helps with that. But also in the visitor center, there was this map of the whole Badlands area that I thought was cool. But after that, we left the visitor center and explored the rest of the Badlands, like this dried up riverbed. At least I assume it's a riverbed. And then just this more hilly area. Again, fun to climb on, just a lot of this. We also went to Wall Drug, which is kind of funny because it's a tourist trap that became so noticeable it became like a tourist trap in itself, I guess. And had the world's smallest chapel, which I thought was interesting. And this giant jackalope that you could get on and ride. Well, ride in a loose sense. And just really climb on. But the main event, crawling through a cave. Which is the main reason we went over to South Dakota. We did the wild caving tour through Jewel Cave. And I brought my flip with, because I couldn't use my regular normal camera. And mostly just kind of this. It's not as dark as it would appear, because the light was there. It's just kind of hard to pick up light with the camera. But there were these cool, like, vertebrate-looking rocks caused by erosion. And then just the whole ground was kind of covered in these fallen rocks that just result of the air getting in and kind of loosening up, and they can fall as opposed to, like, water. Like, for example, here's like kind of a crack line where some rocks would fall. They couldn't support themselves. This tape is for cavers to identify where they're going. And up there, where you can't really see it, is a diving board, rock formation. Get to that later. We also saw a dead bat named Moldy, because those green little dots are mold. Not really good for life down there. Also this marker, which I just thought was cool. I should also mention manganese, which is an element in the periodic table that is also present in this cave. It turns the rocks we walk on black, and the ones we don't white. Now I'll get back to it in a bit, but first, this interesting line that indicates that water's been at this level in this section of the cave for a while. And there was actually a lot of water in the cave, because, it's kind of how it's formed, and I thought it was all really cool, so I got a decent amount of video of the water. But nevertheless, the manganese, it's, throughout the cave, it stains our clothes, and so as we go through the cave, it tracks on our clothes, and we bring it to other parts of the cave. So any of the areas that we walk on or touch get turned black, while those that we don't stay white. There's also this ladder, which goes up to this up area that we then climbed up onto. There's the rope that we used to help us with such. And I tried to get video of the area below, but it was a little hard. It is dark up there. Now, in a bit, I'm going to be quiet, because I want you to hear this part of the cave called Hurricane Corner. That is all wind. Hurricane Corner allows wind to go through that small opening to pretty much like 2/3 of the rest of the cave, and it's a big cave. Going back to the manganese, here's the A, which is just this white area that we avoid touching, because it's really white. there's also hydrazite balloons, completely separate, that air will fill in and kind of blow up like a balloon. So that's really cool. But in general, you want to keep the cave white, per se, because you don't really necessarily want to stain it. So areas that were white, we would avoid touching to not necessarily stain them and turn them black. We also then climbed up that rope thing here, and here's the top of it, and we eventually went through this tunnel-y thing. I don't remember entirely what it's called. I want to say it's called the Otter Slide, but that may be incorrect. Yeah, we went in there, and here I am inside there, looking back. But then I switched forward to look upwards, and that's where I want to go, towards the light shining from our guide. And then here we are just crawling through the rest of the cave. Now, yeah, as I said, the cave's big. In fact, I believe they've explored like 181 some miles of it, and they think that's only like 5% of it. So it's big. Also, up here there's this kind of iron deposit area, which rocks has fall off and create iron on the ground, so I thought that was also pretty cool. Got a video of that. And here I am crawling through what I think are the roller coasters. I could be wrong, that could be later on. Don't entirely remember the cave layout. But whatever I'm doing, I'm definitely crawling, which is why the camera is so close to the ground. This here is then Martha's kettle, which was particularly slippery, due to the manganese. It's a slippery element. So I didn't get a video of me inside of it, but it's kind of this bowl shape, and you go up through the teapot, which is what my mom was crawling through. Yeah, there's just kind of manganese everywhere. There's also this marker, which I thought was neat, right near the brain drain, which is the guide that's crawling through, that we then had to go through. This is the smallest part of the cave. It is, think of holding two sheets of paper together lengthwise, and that's about the size of the opening. It's a very small opening. And if you can't go through that, you're really not allowed to go on the tour, so they make sure you can go through that opening. It's kind of like, I guess, one of the things it's known for, almost. But yeah, here's more the water I was talking about. I thought, I like water. I think it's cool, just fascinating to watch. There's also the rabbit. See, kind of looks like the ear and the head. And this here is the rabbit's hole, which is what we went down. I didn't see Alice, but you know, what are you gonna do? But yeah, this is the cave. Mostly just crawling around here for like 3 to 4 hours. Just seeing rain drip from the ceiling. I mean, it's not technically rain, it's more just water dripping through cracks. But it's cool. Formed these cave pearls, which are just these rocks that got really rounded down from the rainwater. And then there was this big bulbousy rock thing and a bunch of iron, which I just thought was cool. And then this cool kind of rock formation. But here we are going through the cave, and luckily our tour was kind of in a loop. Part of it we had to backtrack, but there's our exit, which we want to get through. There's also power cables to light up lights, which I thought was kind of neat. And there is the rope that we have to crawl up to keep going on towards our exit. Here is then the top of the diving board, which is why I mentioned it earlier, because it's kind of cool, like, hey, the diving board, seeing the other side of it. So that's why I mentioned it earlier. This is Dogtooth Spar, kind of a just cool mineral. But there, we've actually gone through the cave, gone through the loop, and we're back to our shoes, which means it's over. So we went back up, washed ourselves off, and that was it. Hope you enjoyed it, and see ya.